I remember the exact moment I first saw him. It was late October, the kind of day when the sun hides behind thick grey clouds, and the air smells like rain and dying leaves. I was standing at the bus stop, hugging my coat tighter around me, wishing I had brought an umbrella. And then, he appeared. He was tall, wearing a black hoodie and jeans, with dark eyes that seemed to notice everything, even me, standing there trying to act invisible. He looked at me, just a quick glance, but it was enough to send a small shock through my chest. I didn't know then that this stranger would change my life. That he would break me in ways I didn't know were possible. His name was Jason. At first, everything felt like a dream. We met again a week later at the corner cafe near my apartment. I was reading alone, sipping a cup of mint tea, when someone asked, "Do you mind if I sit here? The place is packed." It was him. Jason. The stranger from the bus stop. I looked around. He was right, every table was full. So I nodded, hiding my nervous smile behind my book. "Saturday, I've seen you before," he said. "You take the 32 bus, don't you?" I laughed, surprised he remembered. We talked for an hour. Then 2. I forgot my tea. I forgot the world. He made me feel seen. Like I mattered. That day became the start of something big. Or at least, it felt big. In the beginning, Jason was kind. Thoughtful. He remembered little things, how I hated cold weather, how I liked my coffee with oat milk, how I cried when I saw sad commercials. He listened. He really listened. We walked through the city like lovers in a movie, under neon signs, through rainy streets, holding hands and laughing about nothing. He made me feel safe. And I let him in. I don't know when things began to change. Maybe it was the night I forgot to answer one of his texts. I was at dinner with my mom, and my phone was in my bag. When I checked it 2 hours later, there were 12 missed messages from him. "Where are you? Why aren't you answering? Who are you with? Answer me now." When I called, his voice was cold. "What were you doing?" he asked, not gently, like he owned the truth. "With my mom," I said, confused. "I told you. You could have at least said something." I apologized. I felt guilty, though I hadn't done anything wrong. That was the first time. But not the last. He started getting upset about the way I dressed. "You don't need to wear that skirt," he said one night, eyeing me like I'd betrayed him. "You're not going out to impress someone else, are you?" "No, I just like it." He shook his head. "You look better in jeans anyway." So I changed. Then came the rules, quiet at first, like suggestions. "Don't talk to that guy from work. He flirts with everyone. Don't go to that party. There'll be drunk guys there. Why do you even need other friends? I'm enough, aren't I?" Each time I gave in, just to keep the peace. Just to feel his love again, the warm version of him, the one who made me feel like the center of his world. But that version was fading. By spring, I was no longer myself. My laugh was quieter. My circle smaller. My phone, always in his hands. He read my messages. Checked my location. Once, he got angry because I called my dad and didn't tell him. "Why are you hiding things from me?" "I'm not," I said softly, my voice barely above a whisper. My heart was pounding in my chest, not because I was lying, but because I knew how he would take the truth, like a slap across his pride. He stood still for a moment, jaw clenched, breathing heavy. Then, without another word, he turned and slammed the door behind him so hard the picture frames on the wall rattled. The sound echoed through the apartment like thunder after lightning, sudden, violent, and final. I sat alone in the silence, staring at the floor, tears stinging the corners of my eyes. I wasn't sure what hurt more, his anger, or the way it made me feel like a child again, small and scared and unsure of what I'd done wrong. Hours passed. Darkness fell. I didn't eat. I didn't move. I just waited. And then, the door creaked open. I looked up. There he was, standing in the doorway like nothing had happened, except he held a bouquet of white lilies, my favorite. His eyes were soft now, the storm seemingly gone. He walked toward me slowly, like I was something fragile, something he was afraid to break again. He knelt in front of me, placed the flowers on my lap, and took my hand in his. "I'm sorry," he whispered, his voice raw with emotion. "You just mean so much to me. I panic when I think of losing you." He kissed me then. Softly. Desperately. Like I was air after drowning. And I believed him. Because I wanted to. Because I needed to believe the man I loved was still somewhere inside the one who hurt me. There were good days. Don't get me wrong. Days when the world felt bright again, like someone had pulled the sun out from behind the clouds. Days when he'd wrap his arms around me from behind while I cooked, and whisper silly jokes into my ear just to hear me laugh. Days when he'd stroke my hair and call me his angel. Days when he looked at me like I was the only person who ever truly understood him. We'd dance barefoot in the kitchen to old love songs on the radio, our hands intertwined, our faces inches apart. He'd spin me around and say, "You and me forever, right?" And I'd nod, heart full, pretending that the cracks between us weren't growing deeper with every spin. We talked about baby names. About what city we'd move to when we finally got away from the noise. He painted pictures of our future like it was a fairy tale we were both lucky enough to live in. And on those days, I thought, maybe he's just damaged. Maybe he's scared. Maybe he needs love to heal. So I gave him all I had. Every drop of patience. Every ounce of strength. Every piece of myself. But the more I gave, the more I disappeared. The first time he hit me, it wasn't really a hit. That's what I told myself. It was just a push. That's what I repeated over and over, like a spell to protect me from the truth. I had forgotten to lock the front door that day. He came home late, already in a foul mood. Something about a co-worker getting a promotion he felt he deserved. I tried to be gentle, tried to distract him, but when he saw the door slightly ajar, his face changed. "What if someone got in?" he shouted, voice sharp like shattered glass. "What if something happened to you?" "I'm sorry," I whispered, eyes wide. He didn't wait. He shoved me, hard. My back hit the hallway wall with a dull thud, and I slid down to the floor like a broken doll. I wasn't bleeding. Nothing was broken. But inside, I cracked. Then suddenly he was beside me, kneeling, trembling, eyes full of tears. "I didn't mean to," he said, choking on his own breath. I was scared. And I, stupidly, wrapped my arms around him. I held him, as if he was the one who needed comfort. As if his pain excused what he did. The actual hit came weeks later. We were arguing about something so small, I can barely remember it now. Toothpaste, I think. Something absurd. Something meaningless. But his voice rose, and mine did too, just enough to push him over that invisible edge. And then, he hit me. Fast. Brutal. His hand flew through the air before I could even register what was happening. The slap landed across my face with a sound I'll never forget. My cheek burned. My ears rang. My vision blurred. For a moment, time stopped. He stared at me. I stared back. Silence fell between us like a wall neither of us could climb. Then came the tears. His. The apologies. The begging. The fear in his eyes. "If you leave me, I'll kill myself," he whispered, shaking, holding a knife from the kitchen drawer against his arm. "I swear to God, I can't live without you." I stayed. Not because I believed him. Not because I loved him. But because I was afraid. Afraid of what he might do. Afraid of what he already had done. Afraid of who I had become, a girl who made excuses for bruises, who flinched at her own shadow, who thought love was something you survived, not something that made you feel safe. One night, I looked in the mirror. Really looked. And the girl staring back at me was a ghost. She had shadows under her eyes that no makeup could hide. Lips that didn't know how to smile anymore. Shoulders that curled inward like she was trying to disappear. She didn't laugh. She didn't shine. She flinched when someone knocked on the door. And I knew, deep in my bones, that this wasn't love. This was fear. Fear, dressed up in flowers and promises. The final straw came on a cold, rainy evening. He'd been gone all day. No call. No message. I sat on the couch, fingers clenched, heart pounding, every sound outside making me jump. The door finally opened close to midnight. He stumbled in, reeking of cheap whiskey. His shirt was wrinkled. His breath, thick with alcohol. And worse, he smelled like someone else's perfume. "Where were you?" I asked, trying to sound calm, but my voice shook. He laughed, careless. Threw his jacket to the floor. "Out," he said simply. "With who?" I pressed, feeling the lump in my throat grow. He didn't answer. And then, I saw it. The lipstick stain on his collar. Bright red. Not mine. My heart didn't just sink. It shattered. "You cheated," I whispered, the words tasting like blood in my mouth. He didn't even deny it. He just smirked. And in that moment, something inside me snapped. I stood. For the first time, really stood. Looked him straight in the eye and said, clear as glass, "Get out." He didn't move. Didn't blink. So I did. I walked into the kitchen, picked up my phone, and dialed 911. My hands were shaking, but my voice was firm. "I need help," I said. "He won't leave. And I'm scared." He looked at me then, really looked. And for the first time, he looked afraid. The police arrived 10 minutes later. He didn't fight them. Didn't say a word. Just stared at me like I was the one who'd betrayed him. Leaving him wasn't easy. He sent letters. He called from numbers I didn't recognize. He left voicemails, crying, promising therapy, promising change, promising everything I once dreamed of. But I was done listening to promises. I found a new apartment. Started therapy. Changed my number. Changed my locks. Changed the way I breathed. I learned to sit alone and not feel lonely. I learned that silence can be peace, not punishment. I learned that healing isn't pretty. It's slow and messy, and full of days when you miss the idea of someone more than the reality of who they were. But I kept going. One breath at a time. One day, I woke up and didn't think of him first thing in the morning. That was the day I knew I was free. Now, when people ask if I'm okay, I smile. Not the fake smile I used to wear like a mask. A real one. Soft. Honest. Earned. Because I survived. I thought he loved me. But now I know. Love doesn't control you. Love doesn't break you. Love doesn't leave bruises on your skin or your soul. Love doesn't silence your laughter or steal your voice. Love doesn't make you beg to be safe. I thought he loved me. But I finally learned what love isn't. And now, slowly, I'm learning what love is. And now, I'm learning what love is, starting with loving myself.